Hi, my name's Aaliyah. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. So the first question is, why did you start this channel? I've wanted to be a YouTuber for as long as I can remember, really. YouTube's always been a really big part of my life. I actually chose what I was going to major in college based on what I like to watch on YouTube. That's why I decided to start this channel. I watch a lot of different things on YouTube, not just book content, so I'll probably post more than just book content, but this is where I'm starting. Question 2 is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? I'm studying in sociology while also minoring in women and gender studies as well as Black studies, so I think my education can really lend a different perspective, especially when discussing books or social topics that relate to marginalized communities. Question 3 is, what are you most excited for about this new channel? For me, I would say I'm really most excited to just be more courageous and face my fears and anxieties about posting online. My mom actually gave me the green light to start a YouTube channel if I wanted to when I was 13, but here I am 6 years later because I was way too scared to, and I don't think I really have the regular fears about posting online. A lot of people are scared that people they know are going to see it or that it's embarrassing. But I've been scared of getting stalked and murdered. Also, when I was younger, I was being a minor on the internet, what if there are pedos creeping on me? So that's why I didn't start. But here I am 6 years later. So question 4 is, why do you love reading? And I like reading because I think it's better than watching a movie. There's always this debate, but everyone knows the book is always better than the movie. And for me, it's because, yes, you're working with the base material, which is given to you in the book, but you can really imagine it however you want. It's like watching a movie, except you get to direct it, you get to cast, you get to choose the outfits, hairstyling, makeup. You basically get to be in control of everything. And sometimes when I'm reading a book, I might even ignore character descriptions. I remember reading The Selection in middle school, and I was shocked to find out a few years later that the prince in that story is described as a white man with blonde hair. I was imagining him as Asian the entire time. But you can't really do that with a movie because they're right in front of you. So question 5 is, what book or series got you into reading? And for me, that was the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. In 6th grade, I had to do monthly book reports, so I asked my mom if she had any books that I could read, and she gave me the Lunar Chronicles. When I tell you I've read that series probably over 10 times since then, I was rereading it over and over and over again. I did eventually branch out and ask my mom for more recommendations, and I found more books once I got onto Goodreads, but that was my series. Question 6 is, what are questions you would ask your favorite booktubers? And this question isn't really specific to booktube, it's more general to content creation in general, but how do you manage your time? Because I'm only starting this now that I'm out of school. I'm on summer break, and I've only posted a few pieces of short form content so far, but the process of brainstorming, scripting, filming, editing, all of that takes me forever. This is actually my 5th time recording this video because I was having so many audio issues. The first 4 times I had to call my brother to help me set up this mic. But yeah, so how do you manage your time with content creation and also balancing it with the rest of your life? Question 7 is, this sentence is written so I don't know if I'm just tripping, but I cannot read this sentence. I'm going to reword the question. I copied these questions from the fandom.com page, but basically, what do you think is going to be the hardest challenge to overcome when starting a booktube channel? And I think for me, there are 2 main ones. My fear, like I already stated earlier, posting online has been a big fear for me, but it's something I've wanted to do for a long time, so that's why I'm giving it a go. But the second thing is going to be actually reading enough books or just consuming enough content to have something to talk about. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think I've read a single book for fun since September, because while I was in school, I was doing my classes, I was working a part-time job, I was on a sports team, and I was trying to be involved in extracurriculars. So I really had no time to read recreationally. I only read the things that were assigned for my classes, which some of those readings were very interesting, but a lot of it was textbooks and boring stuff. Question 8 is, when did you start reading? My mom really emphasized the importance of reading when I was a kid, so I've been reading for as long as I knew how to read, but I would say I really started seeing reading as one of my hobbies and being completely self-motivated to read in about 6th grade, because once I got hooked on those Lunar Chronicles books, I took off running from there. Question 9 is, where do you read? And I read anywhere. I'll read in my bed, I'll read on the couch. I can't read in cars, but I love to do audiobooks in the car. In middle school, I would literally be walking through the hallway reading my book. Like, I'll read anywhere, basically. And the last question, question 10, is, what kind of books do you like to read? And I like to read a lot of different things. Like, I can't say I like one specific genre. I'm not that kind of person. I mostly read young adult, but I do dip my toes into middle grade sometimes. Rarely adult books, but sometimes I do read adult books, but definitely range across a multitude of genres. I also very much enjoy graphic novels and manga. So I pulled a few books off my shelf to show the variety in what I like to read. So first, the books that got me into reading, we have the Lunar Chronicles, and these are kind of a sci-fi dystopian. Next, I have a graphic novel, Fence by C.S. Pacat, and these books are basically they give off the vibe of a classic sports anime. It's about these kids who go to a boarding school and they fence. That's it, basically. But I loved these. Next, I have a manga, Banana Fish. I'm not gonna lie, I can't tell you many of the details because I have not read the series all the way through, but I did watch the anime, but that was 4 years ago. So I don't remember all the details, but I can read the back. Set in Vice City, New York in the 80s. And this reads, nature made Ash Lennox beautiful. Nurture made him a cold, ruthless killer. A runaway brought up as the adopted heir and sex toy of crime lord Papa Dino Golzine, Ash, now at the rebellious age of 17, forsakes the kingdom held out by the devil who raised him. But the hideous secret that drove Ash's older brother mad in Vietnam has suddenly fallen into Papa's insatiable, ambitious hands. And it's exactly the wrong time for Eiji Okamura, a pure-hearted young photographer from Japan, to make Ash Lennox's acquaintance. Yes, and then next, dipping into middle grade, I have the Percy Jackson, the Olympians series by Riordan. I sped through these books so quick. I got into these books during quarantine, and in the span of 6 months from quarantine to Christmas, I had collected basically every single book in the series because I was just that obsessed with it. But yeah, so middle grade. Next, I have Radio Silence by Alice Oseman, and once again, another book I read quite a while ago, but this kind of gives if you know Alice Oseman, you know the kind of books she writes, you know what I like. Next, I have We Are the Ants by Shaun David Hutchinson, and this is one of the books that had a crazy impact on me. I'm gonna be honest, I picked up this book just because I thought the cover was pretty. I had no idea what I was getting into, but I read this during my freshman year, and I think it is a good story that shows the realities of mental illness, and it was very interesting because in the story the character is given a ultimatum basically he gets abducted by aliens, and the aliens give him an ultimatum. He can either press a red button to save the world from ultimate destruction, or he can let it happen, and he has 144 days to decide. But yeah, one of my favorite books on my shelf. And lastly, I have Renegades, also by Marissa Meyer. I read the Lunar Chronicles, and then I was like, I need to read everything this lady has ever written, and this is one of those other books. It's basically a dystopian story that takes place in a society where people have superpowers. So the main character, she is basically a villain, but in her eyes and the eyes of the villains, the Renegades, the hero organization, they're the bad guys. So she infiltrates their society to try to take them down. Yeah, so those are a few books off my shelf to show the variety of things that I like to read. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you give it a like. If you want to see more from me, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video. And if you want to see some of my short form content, I post that on YouTube Shorts as well as on my Instagram and TikTok, which will be linked down below. Thanks for watching.